Thank you for joining our spiritual sojourn today. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Hello, Lori. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I have a feeling that you have a message for us.
I think I do. And I think it's timely with whatever's happening in the world. Things are coming at us at light speed. And this message came to me earlier today as something that everybody could benefit in doing. Um, when when we hear what's coming through either written media, computer media, television, radio, whatever it is, there are going to be some things out there that are not completely what they seem. And I think each one of us has the responsibility to interrogate something before we accept it as truth. And this is the message I was feeling this morning was everybody needs to take that thought in and sit with it for a moment and ask if your guides, if it is accurate and true. And if it's not, that's your sign to move on. And that might be something that would stress you out if you did accept it as truth. So you need to do that with everything, especially those things that might give you stress, and move on from it and only take in those things that you feel are in the most benevolent, the most accurate truth. And that's really important right now because most of us are going to be just hit from every direction with things we don't understand, don't know, and we're going to have to evaluate each and every one of them. And whatever happens, this is not specific to any particular anything. This is just for our own good as individuals, spiritual individuals trying to evaluate the truth. So, with that in mind, what's your opinion on that, Lori? How do you feel about that?
I think that's a perfect message and great timing with what's happening in the world right now and just all around us. And it's a very similar kinds of message that I get all the time from my guides. It's use my discernment, take in what I take in, and don't take it at face value anymore. Always tune inward, listen to my intuition, ask my guides, really sit with it before I react. Because I tend to be one of those people sometimes, if I hear something or see something and it strikes me and it pisses me off, then I'm real likely just to react in that moment. And they're saying, don't do that. Stay calm, center in, allow that moment that I get when I just flash angry, but don't do anything. Just sit with it for a moment, tune in, and then from that point, make a discernment and whether or not you need to take any action, if you need to believe it, or if you just need to look at it and discard it if it doesn't seem like it fits for me. So I think that message is very relevant. And as I've been doing readings the past week or so, a lot of those kinds of messages are coming through. And I think it speaks to the shifts that are happening and just the craziness right now and the uncertainty of our time. It just seems like anytime I'm out of my home in the environment, just walking around or going to the store, there's so much intense energy flying around, and a lot of it is fear based. And also, then from that, very angry energy. And so, I really try to shield myself when I'm out and try to remember to send as much divine light, white light, into the environment as I can,
Mhm.
just to try to help people perhaps calm down a little bit.
And when you evaluate a message or a concept or a news item, whatever it is, you're doing that with your intuition. You're sitting with it for a moment and you're deciding. How does that process work in your mind?
For me, it's sort of tuning in and how does my body feel? What's my intuitive reaction? Sometimes it'll be I just know something is right or wrong. Sometimes I'll hear something or I'll tune in and it's more of a kinesthetic knowing. My stomach will hurt or something will tense up, and that's how I know. Sometimes I can't always discern it because it's hooked me emotionally. So sometimes I'll try to use my pendulum, or I will ask my guide. I will simply put it out there and say, okay, guys, what's going on here? And then wait for some sort of information that helps me discern what's really going on. And I don't always get an answer right away. And
Mhm.
I think that's my guides when they say to me, just take a moment, don't react to anything, just just sit with it for a bit, because they may not get an answer till later on, either later that day or even the next day. It may come in a dream that evening. I may hear something else then that sort of balances that or counteracts it in a way. Um, but I think for me, because I have a tendency to kind of react to things pretty quickly and sometimes without thinking, that it's good practice for me to just take a deep breath and just go inward for a moment and see what surfaces. What do I feel? What do I think? What messages might I be getting from my guides or the angels or whoever?
Mhm. That makes perfect sense. And I would build on top of that. I think my process would be pretty similar. But one thing you said I really want to emphasize that people can do is when you put something out of your mind for a while and come
Mhm.
back to it, and that initial gut that you get when you load it back into memory is often the truth and the answer for what you need. So
Mhm.
that works for me quite a bit. And also, I get the feeling and I get the goosebumps. And, you see people doing all kinds of things. You mentioned the pendulum. People are using divining rods and tarot cards and oracle cards and playing cards and all kinds of things. Whatever works for you is great, but you can get it just from your feelings and from putting it out of your mind and coming back to it. That works for me very well. And
Absolutely.
I do think that sometimes you want the message, you want the answer right away. You don't get it right away. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you're focused on what you want the answer to be. And so when you come back to it later and it slams into your mind, you're going to get it clean and pure, and it's going to be what it really is and not what you want it to be.
Yes. My guides are always encouraging me to really spend less of my focus outwardly and taking in all the chatter around us in the environment
Mhm.
and really trusting their guidance and trusting that intuition, what my soul tells me,
Mhm.
and following that more than looking to the outside for information at this point.
Mhm.
Because, I think that sometimes, however we're getting the information, whether it's news broadcasts, social media, whatever, I think a lot of times it's slanted, skewed in a way that is designed to get a reaction from people or to stir people up, to stir up our fear, perhaps.
Mhm.
And so I think my guidance is always stop listening to the outside, listen to your inside, listen to that intuition that gives you the truth.
And that's something we've said in other of our podcasts, but this breaks it down specifically to what
Mhm.
you do when you hear something new and when you are not sure about it and exactly how you might go about evaluating it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I don't know that I've necessarily done that, but I am going to very carefully begin interrogating incoming information and see how
Yeah.
it sits.
I know for me, my guides are always encouraging me to really stay centered in my heart space because that's where joy is. That's my soul. And that's that vibration of joy that comes from the divine. And I can stay centered in that no matter what else is going on around me. That doesn't mean I'm happy all the time. Doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It means that no matter what's going on around me, I can come back to that place of centeredness and that sense of joy and calmness, really, that is in my heart space. And the more I can do that, the more then I can make those discernments around me on the external events that are happening, and then choose what to attend to and what not to attend to,
Mhm.
what to engage with, what to let simply fall away, because it perhaps is not relevant to me or has nothing to do with me in that moment. And I don't need to be upset about it.
Mhm.
And I think for me, that's been really helpful to really just practice coming back routinely, centering my consciousness back in my heart space and really connecting again with who I truly am, that soul self,
Mhm.
and allowing it to be there and allowing emotions to come and go. That's the other thing, is when something I do feel an intense emotion, whether it's fear, anger, sadness, whatever, happiness, is to just ride with it, let it flow through, but don't hang on to it, don't cling to it, don't think this is what it's going to be forever. Because to me, what I've realized is that emotions are like weather. It's like the clouds, they kind of blow in and then they blow out again. And if I can just sit with it and feel it and know that it's going to pass, it doesn't become as intense. I don't get stuck in whatever it is I'm feeling.
Mhm.
And my guides are always reminding me of that, of your wallowing again. How much longer do you want to be miserable? Remember, it's going to pass. If you let go of it, if you don't pitch a tent, it will move on. And when I can remember that, it's absolutely the truth.
What a great message that is. Um, Really easily said, and it takes focus to do it.
It does. Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes, just for me, it takes practice and being reminded on a regular basis by my
yeah,
guides to
yeah,
let go, to not hold on really to anything, allow everything to flow through.
yeah. Well, I think for speaking for my own self, it's a simple message to take in right now. And practicing all of that is going to, as you said, literally take practice.
Right.
Um, I'd like to ask if your guides have anything they would like to add to our message today.
Tom, we would like to say to you that you have shared the message very accurately, and this we appreciate. Thank you. And we want to remind everyone that you are divine beings. This human coat that you wear is not who you truly are. Remember the divine self, that soul, that connection to source that lives within this body is who you truly are. And all of you are light beings who have agreed to be here at this time in this physical incarnation to help others to remember who they are, to send out that beautiful divine healing energy to all those around you, and to truly feel that love of all, the earth and all beings on the earth. And to know that you are all connected, and not to forget this. Even when you, as human beings, disagree with one another, ultimately, you are all one, and all are part of that divine love. And when you can stay centered in that, there is no way you can continue to be angry, hateful, fearful of one another, fearful of the unknown. For in truth, nothing is unknown to the soul, for you are all one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Beautiful message.
nice reminder. It's
Okay.
easy for me to get caught up in us and them kind of thinking sometimes.
In all things.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Fantastic. Do you personally have anything you would like to add before we close out today?
I don't think so. I think they said it much better than I ever could have. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Good, good, good. All right. Well, good message for today. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and watching our Spiritual Sojourn. If you enjoyed this, give us a like and a follow and share it with a friend that you think it might help. And if you have not yet given us some comments, we would really enjoy seeing whatever comments you have on this topic and on any future topics. And lastly, if you need to get a hold of either Lori or Tom, you can do that at ourspiritualsojourn@gmail.com. It's as simple as that, and we will get back to you. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Well, that was fun.